and love myself, and you give power and influence to the wrong people, look how it turns out. You have to hype yourself up and nobody else on the external is hyping you up. You have And welcome back to Ascension with V. I'm your host, Stashia Jeanette, aka V, and today we're going to talk about a little something that came to mind, I guess, a couple of days ago. And it's something that I'm going through, and it's something that I don't think a lot of people talk about. I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It's interesting for me to view from the outside perspective of it, kind of like the zoomed out perspective. Now that I kind of have a lot of it in my hindsight in the rearview mirror now. But I wrote it down essentially, like, who do you talk to after you come out of spiritual warfare? Right? Like when an Earth soldier who has been in like the Earth's military or forces goes to war, comes back. Everybody understands that they have PTSD. Everybody understands that they have trauma. Everybody understands these things. So like when they come back, they have like a system of trying to get them reintegrated into society, regular, normal, like civilian lifestyle. But what about those who've been on the front lines of spiritual warfare? It's a lot of the same things happen. There's a lot of PTSD, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of trying to figure out how to reintegrate into normal life and like what is normal, what is normal, because that's where I'm at currently. And a lot of the who've been on the front lines with me, a lot of the 250, what's up? V squad, a lot of the V squad, a lot of the 250, we're here kind of like, now what do we do now? Because for essentially all of our incarnation this lifetime, we just been either, if not in training, on the front lines. We started training really, really early. And then right after the training, we went into the battlefield. We went on the front lines, and we've been boots to the ground, 10 toes down up until recent. And some of us just now, like we're just now finishing up our term, and so it's brutal, to be like kind of having the world reintroduced to you, but in a way in which you had not ever before known it. And it's difficult. It's difficult to let go of the persona that you had up until this point. And that persona was that very much made of just being in survival mode. You know what I'm saying? Like every single day it was you went to sleep with like one eye closed, one eye open. You were ready to swing at any moment. You had the defenses up all the time. And, you had to be protective of yourself and others, and you had to be leery and suspicious of others around you, because at any moment, like it was dog eat dog. It was every man for himself. And everybody was just trying to survive. And it wasn't a time that allowed for anything other than being focused on the mission. Anything other than being focused on survival. Anything other than being focused on making it through. Just got to get to the next day. Just have to make it to the next destination. Just have to get past this next hurdle. Just have to get through this next obstacle, and nothing outside of that was really ever in the frontal cortex of the mind. That was never something that was consciously something that we were thinking about ever. It was always very much, I don't have time to think about that. And so when things happened that were triggering, when things happened that were painful, when things happened that were sad, when things happened that caused grief, when things happened that, angered you, there was no time for such emotions. There was no time for that. You had to put that on the back burner, and you had to pull yourself up, and you had to keep going, because your life literally depended on it. There was no time to sit and process your feelings. There was no time to sit and think about, well, how did that make me feel? How do I feel about that? What is this that I'm feeling? Why do I feel this way? Like, nobody was asking themselves these kinds of questions while they were on the front lines of this damn spiritual war. And that's something that has been like smacked over my face over the last couple of weeks of me trying to process some really, really heavy energy and emotions. And some of them not mine, some of it's like collective bullshit, that I'm feeling and having to sift through. But what was left after I did like the filtering out was mine. And it was stuff that I didn't have time to sit and process out when I was in the thick of the shit. I just didn't. And it's like a lot because so much stuff happened in my life back to 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 back every single year. And my poor little brain and system just said, all right, so we're just gonna shut this down. We're just not gonna remember it. We're not gonna deal with it. We're not gonna, because clearly we're in survival mode right now. We're under attack kind of situation. And a lot of people are also dealing with this now, where now, because we are kind of essentially out of the worst of it now, because God Source Universe has said, okay, it's time for you guys to fall back. It's time for you guys to rest. It's time for you guys to heal. It's time for you guys to get reintegrated into your new life, your new world, your new existence. It's time for you guys to make a new reality for yourselves. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do now? And like, go have fun, go play. And like, we're all just looking around like, what do you mean? What does that mean? But before we can get to that point, we're like in this weird holding space of, you need to unpack all the stuff that you didn't get to pack over the last 30 plus years, and deal with that. And it's rough, it's hard, it's difficult, it's triggering. And especially with how the collective energy is currently right now, it's a lot of like chaotic swirling energy. It's a lot of things that are shifting and changing. It's a lot happening. And those of us that are very sensitive to energies and very sensitive to the environment and, the stuff that's happening spiritually, you're able to pick up on it equally on top of the things that are happening within your personal life that are shifting, that are changing, the things that are happening within yourself that are growing, that are evolving, that are leaving. Like, it's so much that's taking place at one time. And two people thus far have come to me and said, like, what is this? It's this. It's now time to sit down and process and unpack and deal with the emotions that we were not allowed, we didn't have the leisure, the privilege to acknowledge and deal with and understand while we were going through them. And I want to say that it's important to look back on these things with like a huge amount of compassion, with like a huge amount of grace, with like a huge amount of unconditional love for yourself, with no judgment, with no anger, with no haste, and not try to like drink it down or drink it away or pill it away or sex it away or any kind of substance it away. Really have to feel it, because the sooner that you can feel all the things, process, understand, acknowledge, and accept whatever feelings and things that are like going to begin to bubble up to the surface for you to deal with, they're only going to be able to be released properly if you sit here soberly and give them the time and space to present themselves and to be acknowledged and to understand them. Because otherwise, God's Source Universe is going to hold you back from getting to the really good stuff until you deal with it, until you accept it, until you process it, until you feel the feels, until you let it go properly. And so that's what I'm going through currently. And y'all know I like to try to just keep you updated with the things that I'm going through. A lot of people were like, where you at? You've been MIA. I I'm going through some shit, and it's no one tells you, about these things. No one tells you how difficult it is to deal with trauma, and a part of me frequently has to check myself because I'm like, I don't feel like I have an actual reason, like a physical, tangible reason to feel the way that I feel. Because I'll go back to like the Earth soldier example. When Earth soldiers come back from war, like they have like physical, tangible reasons to be like, oh, I have PTSD from being at war, but how do you, it feels like you can't, it almost feels like your mind isn't allowing you to use kind of the same example, even though you've very much been on the front lines of a war, and it just wasn't a war that most people could see with their physical eyes. And everybody was a part of it, even if you couldn't consciously recall it, even if you weren't cognizant of it at a conscious level. Like everybody was a part of this spiritual war, but not everybody was on the front lines of it, fighting for the highest good of all. Right. So even though this that we're dealing with, even though the scars that we're carrying, even though the trauma and the pain and the suffering that we are dealing with was widely invisible to most people, like that pain and suffering is still real. The trauma is still real. The grief, the near-death experiences, the hurt, the betrayals, the lies, whatever it is that you experienced and went through while you were on the front lines, getting socked out, fighting for the highest good of this planet. It was real. It was. Every single thing that you saw, every single thing that you felt, every single premonition and dream that you went through, witnessed, those things were real, regardless whether or not the external physical world will acknowledge it readily or not. It was real, and so is your trauma. And so you have to treat yourself the same way as if you did indeed come back from war, and allow yourself time to get back into a state of homeostasis, of calm, of tranquility, of peace, of understanding that like you're safe. And it's really important also to turn the news off, because you already know how this ends. If you were on the front lines of the in quote unquote invisible war, then you already know how the physical, how it ends. And I'm gonna just leave it there. So it's important to turn off and avert your attention from any of the worldly constructed things at this time, so that your mind and your nervous system can reset and rebalance and heal, and you can begin creating and manifesting the world and the life that you want to be, and the things that you want to be doing, and learning how to have fun, and learning how to relax, and learning how to be successful, and learning how to accept help, and learning how to accept money, and learning how to accept being great and being wanted and being looked up to and being in the spotlight and being surrounded by good people who are equally yoked to you in every way. You have a lot of really good things coming to you. You have a lot of really good things that are getting ready to change for the highest good of all, for your highest good, for your highest purpose, for your highest self, for your highest destiny, for your highest timeline. There's a lot of really good that is coming, but you have to do the work currently right now to allow yourself to purge out what's no longer needed from your system, from your mind, from your body, from your energetic field, because it's a lot that you went through. 30 plus years is a really long time to constantly be at war, to constantly deal with trauma, to constantly deal with some things that you may have to just take to the grave. You have to find healthy outlets for your heavier emotions and energies, because you can't just keep it within you. If you're a musician, then make music. If you are a dancer, then dance. If you're a painter, then paint. If you're a singer, then sing. If you're a poet, then write poetry. Put your pain into your craft and alchemize it into something really beautiful and send that out into the world because that's what's needed right now. Don't hold back the gifts that God Source Universe has bestowed upon you to be shared with the world for this purpose of spreading your beauty and your joy and your light and your creativity out into the world, into the universe, because now's the time that it's needed. And each time that you are actively, authentically expressing yourself and who and what you truly are, and you are in flow state of creating and making or using your craft for the highest good, it sends out such a healing ripple effect to the world. That is really what God Source Universe wants you all to be doing right now, is focusing on what brings you joy, focusing on what your gifts are and using them to the fullest for your joy, for the highest good of all, and putting it out there. Like, don't just keep your gifts to yourself, share them with the world, because that's why God Source Universe gave them to you. And that's why God Source Universe is activating them right now, is for you to be able to use them this moment to spread that light and energy out into the world. And when you are in your flow state and when you are happy, when you are allowing God Source Universe to flow through you, that energy is potently rippling out into the others, into the energy, into all of the world. And it really does have a really great effect for the highest good of all. So do the things, but please allow yourself the time to feel your feelings and feel them with compassion and grace and understanding, and kind of treat yourself like a newborn baby of the universe. And look look at the things that are coming up to be looked at and dealt with non-judgmentally. Um yeah. Just it just feels like a lot is changing, but God Source Universe is holding you back from moving forward until you deal with the things that you weren't able to deal with prior to this time, prior to this moment. And so yeah, let yourself deal with it. Let yourself unravel the things and fill yourself with love. And when those things leave out of you, decide what you want to fill it with. Decide what you want to fill those voids with. Decide, do you want love to fill it? Do you want joy to fill it? Do you want happiness to fill it? Do you want abundance to fill it? Do you want stability to fill it? Like, fill it with all the things that you didn't have before. Ask yourself, what were the things that I needed that I didn't have in my previous life? Because that's what it was. It's a previous life, and you're getting ready to step into your new life now. So think about the hard-hitting questions. How do you want your new life? What do you want your new life to look like? What kind of cars are you driving? What kind of house do you have? What kind of people are around you? What are you doing? What's your dream job that you want to be doing? What do you want to be known for? These kinds of things right now. Manifest and construct your new life, because that's what you're getting ready to step into. And with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you all for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. Don't forget to rate your girl on Apple and Spotify. 5 stars me, and sharing is caring. And check me out on ascensionoraclev.com to apply to work one-on-one with me, if you so choose. If you're ready for this, you ready for this, right? And I got some new merch and stuff that is available on the website. It's a brand new website that I made. Your girl made. Give it some love. And the new Earth Guidebook to Healing and Ascension is available on Amazon. You can find all the other things that I'm doing in the description box below, but also on the website if you are compelled to go check it out. Until next time, I'll see you guys. B Squad.